Today, what are we talking about, folks? You know, of late, let me start with this first. It is not important, but it has been in the news for a while. As you guys call it, trending. You know, this reverend in team or something who made a whole press conference about planes and cocaine and a whole lot of things he alleged. It's funny, he's been making several appearances on TV stations, on programs, and I don't know why, but you know, somebody makes allegations, they come back into the evidence, they seem clueless, and that's when you get a platform, man. If you want a platform in Ghana, just make the allegation. You don't need the evidence. And people will still be interested in no matter what, no matter how ridiculous aggravation is. He's been on many platforms. And the funny thing is that people are asking this question, say, this man didn't come with any evidence, he just made an allegation, and all of a sudden, all platforms are open to him. And I think Umar Sanda asked him this question, very interesting. Check this out.
For your own integrity, for your own, personality, considering the kind of calling you have, a man of God, you are being called a liar. It is not a nice thing. You are being called an attention seeker.
Yeah.
Why don't you produce the evidence so that attack against your person does not go?
So, Umaru, they say all this because you can understand the
because you have not brought evidence.
Because you can understand the extreme frustration and discomfort in covering these crimes.
Or because you are leading us on a wild goose chase.
No. In these,
and there are even people who are questioning why we give you platforms.
Please, in these crimes,
yeah.
Because if I don't seek platforms, I don't go around calling radio stations that I want to come on your show.
Yeah, but there are people saying that we shouldn't even allow you to even comment any further until you bring any evidence.
I don't go.
and you know, Umar was asking a question that I was asking. As I'm sure you watched the last episode that we did, and I said, hey, Massa, if you have anything to say and you have the evidence, you bring it to me. I will talk about it. I will show the evidence. But if you have a suspicion or an allegation, Massa, the intelligent thing to do is like, Charlie, this thing is happening. I really don't understand it. I'll write to National Security or somebody, some of these agencies that are in charge. I'll write to them and say, have you seen this? I suspect this. Investigate it. Something like that. But I don't get up and hold a press conference and make needless statements.
On the matter of Air Med flights and Kabok Air private jets transporting suspected cocaine and cash. Ladies and gentlemen, on another security matter related to our airspace, the Minority Caucus calls on national security to, as a matter of urgency, make public the content of cargo suspected to be cocaine and cash transported into the country by 2 suspicious flights.
And say later that I just have a suspicion. This is all very ridiculous.
This question. So, are you acting based on suspicion, or you have anything concrete to prove this?
We have strong basis for what we've put out. The questions we have put out. We have strong basis for the questions we have put out. And these are not.
So you have evidence that there was cash and drugs brought into this country.
We have strong basis for the questions we have put out.
You have evidence.
Anytime the NDC wants to spin propaganda around evidence, it will get to a stage. There will be further things that will be released. And before
but you're not releasing now, you're releasing later.
I'm not going to give it to you today.
But you're releasing later.
I'm not going to give it to you today.
But you release it later?
But
when will you release the information?
Oh, that is.
Reverend Tim, I'm sorry. This is part of it. This is part of this whole Jandam agenda. And it is sickening. But having said that, let me say this. Nothing can ever witness what we call a vacuum. There's nothing like a vacuum. Say there's nothing. No. There is always something that will fill a vacuum. So if there's nothing happening, it doesn't mean nothing is happening, but certain things will fill the vacuum. And I'm saying this because honestly, NDC, if you develop an ongoing agenda, an agenda that is so important that it brings a discussion of national issues, if you develop something like that to fill the vacuum, and Ghana is all gone agog with the issues you are talking about, the policies you are trying to implement, things that need to be done, trust me, NDC, if you fill the vacuum with things like this, there's no room for agenda. I guess all I'm saying is that people have time to make press conferences and allegations and all this crap, because in the absence of nothing, anything is okay. In the absence of nothing, anything is okay. So long as there's nothing, please expect certain things to come and fill the vacuum. And that's why this man had a press conference. There's nothing to talk about, folks. There's a vacuum. Well, I remember that the EA levy was abolished, so and so was abolished, these taxes were abolished, and there was like a whole discussion and talk on what has been abolished and what has been not. And the president came and said, promise accomplished or delivered or something like that.
Promises delivered.
That's it. Nobody's even talking about that anymore. There are some issues that we should be thinking about. Yes, we have abolished the e-levy. Yes, we have abolished certain taxes and all those things. The fact is that those things were bringing in certain revenues to the state. They were. We are poor and poor. That's a fact. It was bringing in certain revenues. Now all of these things have been abolished. Can there be a discussion on what is going to take place now in terms of what will be used to attract similar revenues to the nation? Is there a talk on what has been sealed in terms of the gaps? No, what we have sealed, that even though these things have been abolished, because we have sealed these loopholes, we are still covered, and things will be fine. This is the level of discussion that I thought would come after all the talk about all the things that have been abolished. But no, because there's nothing there. Somebody says, I've seen a plane and there's cocaine and crap like that. It was quite interesting. You know, somebody, what did he refer to Reverend Tim as a low budget Ablakwa?
People are calling you low budget Ablakwa. How do you feel about that? They're saying that you are just trying to do what he used to do, which you are doing in a lousy manner, they say.
Omaru.
That's funny. When Ablakwa makes allegations, says I have evidence, I've intercepted, I have evidence. You know, you don't intercept something and say it's just a suspicion. I'm just talking about the funny thing about the low budget Ablakwa. But the main thing here, folks, is this. There's nothing. There's nothing filling in the gap. So I expect these things to come up. Listen, Ghana is in serious trouble. And we know this. We don't talk about it. It's okay. We have our fun. It's okay. But the fact is that there are certain serious gaps that we are in as a nation. And I said it the last time, the NDC won the election because of the energy Ghanaians have looking for somebody to come and make those radical changes. And I'm saying this, and I'll say it again and again and again. People are not feeling the momentum. You ain't feel, you know. And when you listen to His Excellency, you can tell he has some momentum, you can tell he has some direction. But the backing of the ministers, you know, the body of the ministers, the energy that I was expecting from them, I'm sorry, I don't feel it. That's why the other time I talked I talked about, look, this vetting crap, the way we vet people and all that crap is crap. And then some intelligent person told me, about UKSM, what do you mean? Have you seen how they vet in the US? They ask these questions. I say, I don't give a hell how they vet in the US. We are not in the US. And the fact that the US does it a certain way does not mean that we in Ghana should do the same way because I'm in the US. No. How about Ghana starting a new trend? And this is what I say. When it's time for vetting, the best way to vet ministers, you have invited so and so and so to be minister of this segment, and you're going to vet them. The whole vetting, I say, should consist of a PowerPoint presentation. PowerPoint makes you think, oh, because you have to arrange the arguments logically. So when they call whatever minister, he mounts his PowerPoint and he starts. First of all, give us the overview of whatever sector you're going to be minister of. Give us the overview. What is in this sector? What are there any historical things we need to know? What are the gaps? What do you as minister intend to do to improve whatever it is you are inheriting? But in order to convince that you're going to bring something new to what you're inheriting, you have to first let us know that you really understand the ministry you're going into by the breakdown you present, by the loopholes in the ministry, and finally, how you intend to fix it. And the last part of the PowerPoint will be, give us some timelines. By this timeline, this is what I hope we should achieve. By this is what I hope we can achieve. You know, this will challenge anybody who has been elected and has been given the position to act as a minister of any sector, to think and present something to the people of Ghana in PowerPoint. Essentially, these are my plans. There are people who have no clue what the ministry is. There are ministers who have no understanding of how to improve. But why should they be worried? Because when I come for everything, you're going to ask me, does my wife cook jollof for dinner? You're going to ask me bull crap. If I go to church, the church I go to, do they pray in tongues? And so, if this is what you're going to ask me, what has that got to do with the onerous task of running a ministry? Well, time because I say ministers should be allowed to do PowerPoint presentations. And then maybe out of their PowerPoint, you can ask them some critical questions. But the PowerPoint forces you to think and to analyze. We don't do that. You know, we have these vetting, and I popular Ghana, the whole nation will stop and watch that thing on TV, becomes a favorite pastime. People will come and talk about anything but how they're going to rescue the ministry and how they're going to add to nation building. So, folks, I'm saying in the absence of that, whilst we don't put our ministers through the grill, they come and they become ministers and they can all be quiet. I haven't heard anything dynamic. Maybe there have been some dynamic things. Maybe. I am saying I haven't heard anything dynamic from any of these new ministers. Actually, this is something, a ground shaking idea. You say, oh, wow. I haven't heard anything like that. But this is what the country needs. Ground shaking ideas. Things that we have not actually ever thought of. This is what I want to see of the ministers. You know, there was one time that I did a whole presentation on the young ones who have now come in, and I advised them that we're going to be watching, and a whole bunch of advice. Those of you who missed that, check the same YouTube, you find the advice I give them. And I'm still watching them. I'll give them, in the next few months, I'll come back again and see how far, Charlie. All this talk I'm saying is this. Because I get the sense that the president has some energy and there's something that he wants to do, I would want to get that sense equally, that the ministers he has selected, the people he has put in places, have the same energy or even more energy and dynamism to help change the course of this country. Otherwise, folks, I'm telling you, the energy we have, the vim that we want change things and to get Ghana on the correct path, that vim is high. And I keep warning and warning and warning. I said, if we lose that vim, and Nigerian forces and Tofiakwa, if you lose that vim, we have thrown away a lot. So folks, that's all I'm talking about too. Oh, because there's no dynamism like this, that's why Reverend Tim can hold a press conference, and that can be a national discussion for I don't know how many months or weeks, sorry. Reverend Tim can hold a press conference and that becomes a national discussion. Such crap, such emptiness. Why? Because we are not feeling the vim, we are not feeling the energy, we are not feeling a certain direction that we are going to. So that is the problem. There's this song, I think it's called Kwepupo Ache. You probably don't know the song. Oh, I've forgotten the guy's name. The song is called Kwepupo. And sometimes the song was say, yeah, con slow motion, I don't know. This is what I think I hear, you know. Yeah, con slow motion. Then, what you mean, you know. Pacho NDC, slow motion, adorso. Move on slow motion. So I'm telling you, folks, if you continue with this slow motion, then sit down and expect all the gendarmes to fill in with all the crap. Because let me tell you, vacuum behind the baby. Somebody the thing about water, you say water will find its own level. We are dying. When you release water, it will find its own level. That's why there's so much flooding sometimes in certain places. Why? Because we are built in the ways of the water. But when the water gets there, the water won't say, oh Charlie, you're blocking me quite no, so let me go back. Then the water goes back. No. When the water gets there, one block on the corner, then it will blow you out of the way. That is what causes all the flooding, in not everywhere, but in many areas. When we have filled the places where water should be passing through with our buildings, the water will come and clear off. When the example, okay, this is just an example. That where there is nothing, anything will happen, including disaster. So this vacuum is too much. Look, you know, remember one time I came and I said this, that the problems we have in Ghana are massive, but it is not, it is, what's the word? It is not impossible to resolve. Look, all the problems we're having and the fact that we haven't resolved them, you reverse it. It goes back to the fact that we have not put people who can actually resolve these problems in charge. We don't. Tell me the minister, veterinary example. When they can come and everything and then boom, next time you are made a minister. I remember when they were vetting some ministers, I don't want to mention names, so they let me leave it there. They ask them some silly questions, then they give some silly answers, and they pass anyway. So I am saying this, folks. If we are not feeling any dynamism, it's because we didn't set out to make sure that we are vetting ministers who are coming with dynamism. We didn't set out to do that. We set out to go through the formalities. Say, we'll be a better now. It means day-to-day answer.